Buongiorno ragazzi, or buon pomeriggio, buonasera, buonanotte. This is, I believe, our ninth virtual class. And you might remember that the last one was a review. Well, this one sort of is. We're going to review the articles, the definite articles, but I'm also going to introduce just a tiny additional topic, okay? So, on to the topic. Review of a tiny edition of the articles, the definite articles. Before we start, I'm just going to remind you of what articles are, right? We talked about nouns, which are the things that we use to talk about, the words that we talk about the things of the world, right? Things both abstract and concrete, like the professor or the apple, the student, right? But you will notice that I did not just use one word there. I used two, right? I said the professor, the student, right? And we talked about that tiny word that we almost all the time use before the noun, which is called the article, right? And remember, I can say the student or a student, right? And the difference between saying the student and a student is that when I say the student, I'm obviously talking about some specific student. Whereas if I say a student, it's clear that I'm talking about some random student. It really doesn't matter who it is, right? So a student is a noun combined with the indefinite article, right? And that's the one that in Italian you say un, uno, una, or un, right? And then we also did the definite article, which is the equivalent of the, right? So if you say lo studente, right, that means the student. So today we're going to review the definite articles, okay? Those are the ones that are the equivalent of the English the. Now, I hope you also recall that nouns in Italian always have a gender. They're always masculine or feminine. So the first thing we need to do to establish the article that we're going to use with a certain word is think about its gender. So let's start by talking about masculine words. Some of you remember that this little sign is the sign of the masculine gender, right? So let's think about this thing, for example. Does anyone remember what this is in Italian? It's very, very similar to English. Treno, right? Treno. What definite article do you use with treno? You use il treno, right? Why? Well, remember that we define the article that we use based on the beginning of the word. So treno begins with tr, which means it does not begin with s plus another consonant. It does not begin with z. It does not begin with gn. It does not begin with a vowel, right? So which is the article we use for all cases except the ones I just mentioned? Il, right? That's why you say il treno, okay? And that means the train, il treno. Now let's think about the plural of treno. Does anyone remember the plurals rule? Right? O goes to I. A goes to E. E goes to I, right? So again, O goes to what? I, right? In order to turn treno into its plural, I have to change the O at the ending for an I, right? So I would say treni, right? But that just means trains. How do I say the trains? We did not do that, right? Well, you say I treni. Il treno, the train. I treni, the trains. Okay? Let's think about something else. What is this? Right? I talked about these many times because it's the only word I can think of, remember, that begins with gn and is masculine. Gnomo, right? Gnomo. So what article do you use when a masculine word begins with gn? Remember, use lo. You would say lo gnomo. Lo gnomo. Now, that's the gnome. How about several gnomes, right? What's the rule? O goes to I, so it would be gnomi, right? And how do I say the gnomes? Li gnomi. Li gnomi, right? Again, that annoying little sound that many of us cannot pronounce, right? Li, right? But remember, if you cannot pronounce it, it's always better to say gli rather than g, right? Gli gnomi or just gli gnomi, right? Lo gnomo gli gnomi. The gnome, the gnomes, right? Now, what is this? I know that was not in our official vocab, but I used this word several times. I even remember using it at the midterm because it's an example of a masculine word that begins with S plus another consonant. Stadio, right? Very, very similar to the English stadium, right? Stadio, right? What do we use when the word begins with S plus consonant? Lo, right? So we would say lo stadio, and that means the stadium, right? Lo stadio. How do we say stadiums? Gli stadi. Lo stadio, gli stadi. Another thing, what is this? This you're supposed to know, right? I drilled you 1,000 times regarding this word, right? Zaino. Begins with Z, so what do you say? You say lo zaino, remember? Lo zaino. That's the backpack. And the backpacks? Gli zaini. Lo zaino, gli zaini. One last thing that I want you to think about. This is very, very similar to airplane in English. It's aeroplano, right? Begins with a vowel. What happens when a masculine word begins with a vowel and we want to use the definite article? Remember? We use le, L with apostrophe, so we would say l'aeroplano. Remember, when we do these apostrophes, we're basically mashing two words together, so we pronounce them together. We say l'aeroplano, right? L'aeroplano, that means the airplane. Plural of aeroplano, again, O goes to I, right? So it would be aeroplani. But how do we say the airplanes? We say gli aeroplani. Okay? Let me pronounce these for your benefit again. Il treno, I treni. Lo gnomo, gli gnomi. Lo stadio, gli stadi. Lo zaino, gli zaini. L'aeroplano, gli aeroplani. Okay? All of those are masculine. Let's think about feminine things. Let's start with a female student. Remember the word for female student? I hope you do, because we did a lot of this in the first part of the class. Studentessa, right? Remember, Spanish speakers, it's not estudentessa, right? Studentessa. So studentessa, that's feminine, right? What article would we use if we want to say the female student? We would say la studentessa, right? And then, how would we say the female students? We would say le studentesse, all right? Basically, studentessa is feminine and does not begin with a vowel. So we just say la, right? Now, how about this? This image, I must admit, gives me a certain nostalgia. I really like our campus, right? And I miss it. I hope we will be back there soon, right? How do you say college in Italian? Does anyone remember? Università, right? And that's feminine. What happens when a word is feminine and begins with a vowel and we want to use the definite article? We say le, right? L'università. L'università. And how would we say the colleges? We would say le università. Okay? Another feminine word, remember, these are feminine in Italian. How do you say car? Does anyone remember? Macchina, right? Macchina. How would you say the car? La macchina, right? La macchina. And the plural, A goes to E, and you probably already deduced what needs to go instead of la, le macchine, the cars. There's yet another word for car, which is also feminine. Automobile. Automobile, it's also feminine. It begins with A, which is a vowel, right? What do we do when the word is feminine, begins with a vowel, and we want to use a definite article? We say le, right? So l'automobile. L'automobile. And then what would the plural be? You already know. Le automobili. Okay? So remember that the rule for definite articles for feminine words is that if they begin with a vowel, we use le. If they do not, we use la. And as you can see, the plural is always le. Okay? The plural of that singular article. So, what are the complete rules of what we just reviewed plus what I just showed you? Here is a little table that I hope will prove useful. As you can see, I've divided this in two big rows. The one that says maschile means masculine, the one that says femminile means feminine, right? But I also have two columns that say singolare, singular, and plurale, plural, right? Remember, singular just means that we're talking about one thing, and plural that we're talking about more than one thing. And singolare and plurale are just the Italian versions of this, right? So remember, the rules for masculine determinative articles or definite articles are that if the word begins with S plus consonant or Z or GN, we use lo. So that's the middle row there, right? You have lo stadio, lo zingaro. Stadio begins with S plus consonant, zingaro begins with Z. You could also put lo gnomo there, right? Which begins with GN, right? And then if you want to go to the plural and say stadi instead of stadio, zingari instead of zingaro, or gnomi instead of gnomo, you would have to turn the lo into a li. Basically, the plural of lo is li, okay? Gli stadi, gli zingari, gli gnomi. When the word begins with a vowel and is masculine, we use L apostrophe, right? Like l'aeroplano. And the plural of le, when the word is masculine, is li, right? L'aeroplano, gli aeroplani. And then all other cases, we just use il, like il libro, right? Or il professore, if you will, right? And what is the plural of il? It's I. Yeah, just that one vowel, right? And remember, you pronounce it I, not I, right? So it's I libri or I professori, the books, the professors. That's the rule, or those are the rules for masculine words. How about feminine? It's a little easier. If it begins with a vowel, you just say le, right? Like l'amica or l'università or l'aquila or l'acqua, right? But then if you want to turn this into the plural of le when the word is feminine is le, right? L'amica, le amiche. Notice the difference between l'amica, le amiche and l'aeroplano, gli aeroplani, right? So you have to think about the gender when we go to the plural of the definite article, right? So le turns to le, and then la turns to le as well, right? That's pretty easy. La studentessa, le studentesse, la professoressa, le professoresse, la sedia, le sedie, la lavagna, le lavagne, eccetera, eccetera, eccetera. Okay? And that's it. So basically what we just did today is first review the definite article, right? Which we had done, I believe, on the 5th week or so, right? So a few weeks before we needed to move on to move to the online version of the class, right? And then we also added the plurals, right? And I know that can be a little disconcerting for those of you who only speak English, but yes, all of these things mean the, right? Il, I, lo, li, le, la, le, all of that means the, right? But you have to change it in Italian depending on the gender of the word and on whether it's one thing that you're talking about or more than one thing. Okay? The activity is going to be very easy. I'm going to give you 5 words in Italian with their definite articles, and you just need to turn them into the correct plural. Okay? So I will give you, for example, I don't know, il quaderno, and you need to say I quaderni. Okay? It's fairly easy. I'm going to give you 2 versions of the activity because if you recall, for the last one, I gave you a Google form and some people had trouble with the link. If you are still having trouble with the link for that last activity, there are 2 things that we can do. Either try just selecting it and copying it onto the address section of your browser, the top bar where you just see the address, right? Replace whatever is there with what you just copied, and it should take you to the form. Or just email me and I'll send you an email, right? But the thing is that this email that I will send you will not be from my Hostos account. It will be from my personal Gmail account. So you might have to search for it in the spam depending on the settings you have for your email, right? And it will come with a link that will take you directly to the form, right? But some people are having trouble with that, so I'm gonna send you the link for a form just because that's much more convenient. The system just grades it for me. But for those of you who cannot use that link, also there are people that are just using their phone and are having trouble doing this, I will also send you a Word file. So you can just use that and send it to me, or you can also do what other people have been doing, which is write it on a notebook and send me the picture via WhatsApp. Okay? Believe it or not, we are almost there, right? It's the 20th of April. Yes, I'm recording this on the Sunday before the official day of the class. So we have less than a month left of the semester, right? That also means that it's about time that you start catching up if you are still missing some activities, okay? And I'm still taking midterms from the couple of people that have not given me any, okay? So you can still pass this class. Grazie ragazzi e ci vediamo mercoledì. Ciao ciao.